Hey guys, Mars Thinking here, bringing another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video, and so we weren't necessarily expecting news today. A lot of us were thinking it was going to drop tomorrow morning, but JP has gone ahead and revealed on Twitter the details, the animations, everything here for the Part 2 LR for the Rosé celebration, and it is indeed, after the teaser that we got on Friday with the paddling pool, it is LR Cell Max. So he's an STR, obviously extreme, yellow coin LR, and yeah, Cell Max, Super Bosses buff, so it makes sense, right, for Rosé's Part 2 LR to be a Super Bosses character. Shout out to Goresh for getting the translations up nice and quick. I know when we saw the tweet from the JP side, his passive is pretty long, so we'll see what we can see here with his details, and then I'll show the animations at the end of the video as well. So let's go ahead and take a look. So Cell Max, the ultimate weapon bringing about calamity and destruction. What a great title. So he's a yellow coin LR, so he leads artificial life forms or super bosses for 4 key and 150%. So obviously his leader skill, not the craziest, right? Very solidly in the 200% meta. I know a lot of people, especially for the tougher events, don't like running anything lower than like a 170. But with these yellow coin LRs, most of the time, you're only really worried about the teams that they're going to be on and not so much their leader skill, right? So the leader skill, it's a good leader skill, good combination, artificial life forms and super bosses, but probably not going to be using him as a leader really anytime soon. His super attacks, the 12 key super, the maximum smash, greatly raises attack for 1 turn and does colossal damage. And then the 18 key maximum disaster greatly raises attack for 1 turn, does mega colossal damage to all enemies, and greatly lowers attack and defense. So his 18 key super is an AoE. Both of his supers are greatly raising attack. No defense on super, so that's interesting. We'll have to see what his passive is, of course, because most of his defense is going to have to come from there. Additional supers aren't going to give him any extra defense. He does greatly lower on the 18 key, so that's useful for all of these bosses now where you can lower attack, like Blue Gogeta and Kid Buu. So his passive, he has an entrance animation, which activates on the first turn if there's another artificial life forms or super boss ally on the team. So very, very easy restriction, right? Like just one of the units from one of those 2 categories, which, let's be fair, you're either going to be running him on a super boss's team or with other like Cell or artificial life form characters, right? So his intro pretty much is for free. Which gives him attack and defense 100% for 3 turns, guard all attacks, and performs an additional attack that has a high chance to become a super. So it's guard only for 3 turns, but still obviously very good. Any sort of guard ability, very useful. Extra 100% attack and defense, and an additional attack with a high chance to become a super. Then his passive is key 5, attack and defense 300% at the start of the turn. So big stats at the start of turn. Gain 1 key and 20% attack per attack performed up to a maximum of 5 key and 100% attack, so 5 attacks. Gain 1 key and defense 20% per attack received up to 5 key and 100% defense, so receiving 5 attacks. That means when he's fully built up, he's getting 10 key from his passive. Then he performs an additional attack that has a high chance to become a super, so that's just built in anyway. So with his intro and then the hidden potential, he could super 4 times in the first 3 turns. Gain an additional 250% defense and reduce damage received by 30% if all allies attacking in the same turn are on the artificial life forms, super bosses, or movie bosses category. So with the way this is worded, I don't know how this works with like other passives, right? Because remember when we had Limit Breaker Goku and it's like heroes or full power, but it's like both the other units had to be heroes or they both had to be full power. You couldn't have one of each. So I'm not sure how this is going to work based on how well it's worded, because if you start mixing like the characters on the team and then you're not getting this, then that's obviously not great, right? Because you want this active 250% extra defense on top of the 300% he has start of turn, and then 30% damage reduction. So he should have very, very high starting defense, and he has damage reduction. He's just not gaining any defense on super. But I think when he's fully built up, like he should easily have over 1 million defense, 30% damage reduction. Very, very interesting. He gets an additional attack 250 and chance to crit 30% when there are no superhero allies attacking. Oh, that's really good. So no superhero allies in the same turn, which I mean, realistically, you're not going to be using him on a team with superheroes anyway. So 250% extra attack and 30% built-in crit chance. and then he gets an additional super attack within the same turn after receiving an attack. So once he's fully built up, if you put him in slot 1, he's then also getting a guaranteed additional super. I mean, I guess in the early turns when the enemy's weaker and he's got his intro and everything with the guard, he's getting a guaranteed additional super if you're putting him in slot 1, which is then, of course, building up his attack and key that he gets by attacking a certain number of times. So that seems pretty crazy. All in all, he seems very, very strong. He's got no real defensive tech outside of that 30% damage reduction once the intro buff is worn off. But he seems like one of these units that's just there. Big stat start of turn, going to do a big super attack, and then that's, you know, just do loads of damage. And he's got a bunch of additionals built in as well. Then he has an active skill, the Scream Explosion. Can use after 4 turns have elapsed from the start of battle, and all allies in the same turn are on artificial life forms or super bosses, or on turn 6 from the start of battle, and all allies are extreme. So if you're running him with any superclass characters, then essentially he basically can't use his active skill, which is interesting. Massively raise attack temporarily, cause ultimate damage, and for 1 turn, 999% extra defense, and all attacks are redirected to this character. So he basically has a target ability, but he's also getting 999% extra defense, which is absolutely insane. Because if you think, say you use it when he's fully built up, and let's just use as a ballpark figure that he's at 1,000,000 defense. When you use his active skill and he gets plus 999%, that means his defense will be just under 11 million. So he'll be tanking all attacks. Like, it's just another way of them giving a unit all the attacks come to them, but they can't die, because I don't think there's any attacks in the game, even countdown supers like Golden Freezer. I don't think there's any attacks in the game that can do damage to a unit that has 1,000,000 defense and 11 million defense and 30% damage reduction. So he's basically invincible when he does his active skill. His links: Android Assault, Infighter, Berserker, Big Bad Bosses, Nightmare, Fist Battle, Legendary Power. So obviously for some of these big teams like the Super Bosses, he's got Big Bad Bosses, he's got Fist Battle. Nightmare is a good one as well. Berserker is a terrible link, but I guess at least he shares it with Broly. And then Legendary Power. He's on Artificial Life Forms, Big Bad Bosses, Movie Bosses, Androids. Final Trump card, I guess because he does the crazy Death Ball thing. And then Battle of Fate. So definitely very, very interesting. If we switch over to the more zoomed in view here, we can play his super attack animations. He has the intro, which is a slightly extended, slightly modified version of him coming out of the tank. So that's kind of like the one from, I guess it is using the same part of the animation right from the event. And then his 12 key. Honestly, at first I thought it was just going to be the one from the Cell Max event. But the intro part I think is the same, but then yeah, obviously it's a lot more detailed, a lot more in-depth. Then this is the 18 key, which is the AoE. This I think looks really cool, right? The thing where he fires all of the lasers out of his body, does a big AoE attack. This also, remember, greatly lowers attack and defense. So sadly it can't be used very early, so he's not going to be like a new World Tournament killer unit. And then this is the active skill. The crazy giant death ball. So yeah, this is a target ability, redirects all attacks to him, whilst of course doing a huge amount of damage as well, and then making him essentially invincible. So big old attack, destroys the entire planet. I don't know if he'll have a KO screen, because they often don't show those in these animation videos. But yeah, there you go. LR Cell Max coming for part 2 for JP. Looks absolutely crazy. Super Boss is getting a massive buff with his release. So let me know what you guys think of him down below in the comment section. If you're on JP, are you summoning for him? For Global, we have no idea. Global didn't post anything about him, so maybe Global is just getting Ginyu and this guy comes out after the anniversary. But let me know your thoughts and whether you would summon for LR Cell Max down below in the comment section. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.